In the shadows of early 20th century America, when cities were still learning to breathe and the justice system was held together by rusted bars and cigarette smoke, a monster walked freely, not a creature of nightmares or legend, but a man, flesh and blood, born of poverty, fed by violence, and driven by a hatred so pure it scorched everything in its path. His name was Carl Panzram, and he didn't just kill people, he hated them, all of them. He said it himself, again and again, in writing, in court, to anyone who would listen. I hate the whole damned human race. And he meant it. This is the story of a man with no remorse, no redemption arc, no tragic fall from grace, only fire and blood. Carl Panzram was born in 1891 in East Grand Forks, Minnesota. He was the youngest of 6 children, raised on a failing farm by a mother who tried and a father who didn't. His father abandoned the family when Carl was young. What followed was hunger, beatings, and endless labor. By the time he was 8, Carl had learned that survival didn't come with kindness. At age 11, he was sent to the Minnesota State Training School, a place that called itself a reform institution. In truth, it was a house of horrors. He was beaten with paddles until he bled, chained in basements, and raped by staff. It was there that hatred took root in him, a deep pulsing hatred for all mankind. Years later, he broke in and set the school on fire. He would call that one of the few good things he ever did. By 14, he was drinking heavily, stealing guns, and hopping freight trains. He claimed he committed his first rape before age 15, a man he encountered in a boxcar. From then on, sex, violence, and power became indistinguishable for him. He joined the army by lying about his age, but was quickly imprisoned for theft. He was sent to Fort Leavenworth, and it was there the prison system began shaping him into something far worse than a criminal. Guards beat him. He was thrown into solitary for weeks. Each time he left the prison, he was harder, crueler, more convinced the world deserved what he would do to it. He once said, "I have no desire to reform myself. My only regret is that I wasn't born dead or not at all." By his early 20s, Carl Panzram was traveling the country by rail, leaving behind a trail of burglary, arson, sexual assault, and murder. He claimed to have killed his first man in 1915, shooting a sailor who tried to rob him. But there would be many more. Panzram was a predator in the purest sense. He raped over 1,000 men and boys, by his own estimation. He confessed to killing at least 21, though the real number is likely higher. He described luring young boys with alcohol, then torturing them for hours before ending their lives. He did it not for money, not for lust, but because he wanted to hurt people. "I was rage. I was hate," he wrote. "I was a walking, talking death machine." He once stole a yacht in New York, picked up sailors under the guise of friendship, took them out to sea, raped and murdered them, then threw their bodies overboard. When he was done, he touched the boat. This wasn't a crime spree. It was war. He drifted from city to city, Oregon, Texas, Montana, Philadelphia, even Africa. In 1920, he traveled to Angola under a false name and worked in the oil fields. While there, he claimed to have raped and killed African workers, describing the killings with mechanical coldness. "I was doing the world a favor," he wrote. "One less fool to breathe its filthy air." No one stopped him. No one noticed. He was a ghost in the system, changing names, changing cities, always moving, until 1928. That year, he was arrested in Washington, D.C. for burglary. Just another petty crime. But when the police searched him, they found a revolver and a notebook. In it, he had written a detailed list of robberies, arsons, and murders. He was sent to Leavenworth again, and there he met a young prison guard named Henry Lesser. Lesser saw something different in Carl, not goodness, but clarity. He offered him paper and pen. What Carl wrote over the next months became a chilling document of pure hatred and violence. His autobiography, handwritten behind bars, is one of the most brutally honest criminal confessions ever recorded. He detailed the abuse he suffered, the crimes he committed, and the pleasure he took in every one of them. He described strangling a boy with his own belt, then calmly eating a meal while the body lay next to him. He wrote about his hatred of religion, calling preachers liars and churches houses of fools. He said the only gods he believed in were pain and death. In 1929, while working in the prison laundry, he beat a fellow inmate named Robert Warnke to death with an iron bar. When guards asked why, he replied, "Because I felt like it." He was sentenced to death, and he welcomed it. He refused appeals, refused last rites. He threatened to kill anyone who tried to stop the execution. On the morning of September 5, 1930, as he stood on the gallows, the executioner fumbled with the rope. Carl growled, "Hurry it up, you Hoosier bastard. I could hang a dozen men while you're messing around." And then he dropped. No remorse, no apology, just silence. After his death, his writings were published. Some saw them as the ravings of a madman. Others saw something worse, the truth. Carl Panzram wasn't a monster in the dark. He was a mirror, reflecting what happens when cruelty breeds cruelty, and no one listens until it's too late. He said, "I am not the product of nature. I am the result of man's inhumanity to man." But he didn't write that as an excuse. He wrote it as a warning. Panzram didn't want pity. He didn't ask for understanding. He wanted to be remembered for exactly what he was, a man who hated the world and spent his life proving it. There are no heroes in this story, no justice that truly balances the scale, just a record of evil written in the killer's own hand. And long after his body rotted in the ground, his words remained, still cold, still sharp, still burning. Carl Panzram didn't wear a mask. He didn't pretend to be a monster. He was one. And in the end, that may be the most terrifying truth of all. If this story gripped you, subscribe to the channel. There are more haunting, untold true crime cases coming soon. Darker, deeper, and more disturbing than ever before.